Hello friends. Okay, so we're gonna do another investigation on Satoshi, the origins of Satoshi, and we're gonna ask about Hal Finney, the King of Wands, and Princess Diana, the Queen of Wands. But before that, we have to clear our space. Ready? That's so sweet. What a nice gift. Okay, so yeah, that's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at that and see what we get. Because it's interesting to know about these things, and unfortunately I keep getting these questions put in my head that I need to do readings on, so I am being directed to do these shows. I hope you're enjoying them. Like I said, there's lessons that can be learned from everything, so even if you don't think it's a relevant thing, I would say watch the show anyway. You never know what little gem is going to come out and you're going to go, wow, that made a difference. Forgive yourself. Like this. Forgive yourself. Radical self-acceptance. Yes. Radical self-acceptance. A lot of times we're put in situations that we have no control over, and we have to do things because we're in those situations and we have no control over it. So radical self-acceptance. You do the best you can with what you got at the time. Hindsight's a blinding light, you know. Well, had I known that then, well, you didn't, so you did something different because you didn't know. A little bit of faith goes a long way. Remember that. Interesting cards. Very interesting cards. Stuff we've never seen before. Okie dokie. So, Princess Diana and Hal Finney, the King and Queen of Wands. I see them that way too. Very dynamic, attractive people. A lot of friends, circle of friends. What do they call it? A sphere of influence? Circle of influence? Discernment, judgment, think about things, make good decisions. Discernment. Okay. Number 6. Number 6. Come on, come on. Of course I was at 23. Okay, number 6. As spiritual, physical, and energetic beings, we oftentimes blur the lines between our energy, the energy of the situation, and the energy of another person. When we take on other people's energy and label it as our own, we start to judge. This lowers our energetic vibrations. We then get caught up in a seemingly never-ending cycle of feeling bad, labeling, justifying, and appropriating what is not ours to claim. The lesson here, as in the previous card, is to be present, not label or judge, and let the energy feeling wash through you. Once you do this, notice where in your body you feel the effects of the emotion. Does the heart open up? Does the belly hurt? Does your throat get tight? Your head can lie to you, but your body never does. It's easy to become overwhelmed. Make a habit of making your first response to overwhelming energy, wow, that's interesting, instead of what's wrong with me. Wow, that's interesting. This allows you to objectively discover how and why your body is reacting to the given situation or person. This card is asking you to stop looking outside of yourself for answers to an issue. Instead, sit with it and listen to what your body is telling you. Yes, and ask yourself, what's triggering me? Why am I feeling these things? What's triggering me? That seems to be helpful for me. Okay. Well, Interesting stuff. We've already started a conversation that's interesting, and we've seen cards we've never seen before. So, like I said, you may not be interested in this search for the origins of Bitcoin and Satoshi, but there are still gems of wisdom in the readings, and I think that might be why I'm being called to tell the story, because there's so many things that can be learned from it. And I think about Dolores Cannon, and I think she was doing things and saying, how can I possibly put this out and tell people these things? They're going to think I'm nuts. Yes. Okay, well, there's a strategy involved. There's, maybe trickery, betrayal, maybe it's just a strategy involved. And that certainly was true. Bitcoin was a strategy. It was an operation and it was a strategy. So there was a strategy involved. Yeah, we know that in a big way. And the Empress. And I think that might have been like Diana needed to get out of there. But there was a strategy and the Empress. Now we know that Finney had a wife, or an important woman in his life. Maybe that woman was Diana. We don't know. Okay, to the left is Ace of Pentacles, so we're coming, and here she is. Every time we talk about Diana, this card comes up. So, I think this is a wife, and this is Diana. Anyway, divine gift, which I think was Bitcoin, and I think that was Diana, and she brought the Bitcoin in, and then Hal Finney said, yeah, let's talk about this. And then they started making a plan, and then McAfee was brought in because he could do the coding, and they needed somebody to run the communications, and they brought in Assange. And I think that's how it went. Anyway, it's interesting, though, that Diana keeps showing up as the Ace of Pentacles, which is essentially, I think, the Bitcoin card. And this keeps coming up in the readings. So if you go back and you watch all the readings, especially the ones with Diana, there's always, or there's often an Ace of Pentacles. Okay, Knight of Swords. So they're hoping to go in there with the truth and do some damage. That's perfect. That's the goal. Get in there with the truth and do some damage. Yeah, I really think that was the conversations they were having. These people have so much damn money and they have so much power, and that's the problem. What can we do about that? How can we fix that? How can we make that better? And I think she was saying that, and I think he was listening. And there's the Queen of Wands. And she went from the Ace of Pentacles to the Queen of Wands, which she is in the other reading. So, I think this was maybe his wife, and he had to work with Diana so closely, and she couldn't understand that. She's like, what do you mean this money? We already have money. I think that's what hurt him so much, because he was doing these other things, and there was somebody going, I don't understand this. And there was a lot of emotion involved. I think that happened. Anyway, tools. Wow, the ability to change the world, to bring about a new cycle and end the old cycle, to start a new cycle, and that's Bitcoin, which will last as long as it needs to, and then we won't need money anymore. Oh, wow. Okay, and how do they see themselves in terms of what happened? Yeah, choices. Well, we got to either do this or that, one way or the other. Yeah, and I think we're going to change things. It's not fiat anymore, we're going to do Bitcoin. So that's another choice that they had to make. But there were a lot of, you go one way and the other way disappears. You can't choose again later or decide, no, I want to go this way. You go this way, this one is gone, it disappears. Okay, anyway, environment, the Emperor, yeah. I can see that working for the, you know, the big guys. Interesting. But that's scary. But it's also a big deal. Um, you know, being able to play in the big game. Being asked to play in the big game, you know, they come and say, hey. I think some of these people, though, had been, not Finney, but, you know, our Queen of Wands, she has been playing the big game. She's a pushed off player, though. They wouldn't let her play, but she was definitely in the big game. Let's see. Hopes and fears. Yeah, white magic and black magic. You know, I'm sure there was that going on. And I want to say that I kind of get the feeling that the dark side knew something was going on. They knew that there were whispers of weapons or something, and they wanted to get to the bottom of that, and they were watching everybody pretty damn closely, which is why most of the people involved here are considered dead. And Assange was out of the running for a while. I mean, they had to take everybody off the board because it was so dangerous, because once they did this, they kept looking for him and finding clues. And I think that's, you know, things got really hot, but obviously she was out of there before any of this stuff happened. Okay, and the final outcome. Mental entrapment. Wow, never expected that. But, you know, take the Eight of Swords. Yeah, mental entrapment. You know, look at all we did, and did it make a difference? Because we're still waiting to really see the impact of introducing Bitcoin into society. You know, it's been insidiously slow, but nevertheless, it is insidious. It is continuing to, you know, do damage, and now it's too late, which is part of the strategy. Was it would take so long for them to realize that this was in fact their downfall, that by the time they realized it would be too late. You know, the time bomb's been ticking for what, 15 years now, and there's nothing they're going to do about it now. Not with all the activity and, you know, the whales and the rest of us and nodes and Nosters. Now, not just a social platform, but you can put web pages on Noster now. That's exciting. So, you know, there's all kinds of things happening. Okay, a personal issue reaches resolution. Full moon in Cancer. Well, that's interesting. If there was a misunderstanding between Hal Finney and another woman, and Diana. That's interesting, though, because she's here and she's here. She goes from this to this. So I think she comes out of the palace or wherever. She was extracted. She was already out of the palace, but she was extracted and came out as this, because she arrives as this with this idea, but then she develops into this. Is that confirmation? A personal issue reaches resolution. Things are likely to get very heated, as full moon in Cancer is a super emotional sign, so there could be something of an explosion of feelings. I think that's what was going on here. Feelings around now are surrounding your question. It's important to be sensitive to other people when you pull this card. An explosion going on down there. There are some very fine sensibilities around, so tread carefully as you move toward your goal or dreams. Yeah, fine sensibilities. This woman was raised in like royalty. The card indicates an especially feminine time. There we go again, feminine time. It also heralds the time to deal with any family issues coming up, nothing to worry about. It signals a challenge is now coming to an end. This card also suggests both that a domestic matter or a private issue will soon come to a head, and that is a great time to move house. The answer to your question lies in being a kind leader. This is the time for you to step up and agree to overcome your insecurities. It may be best to move towards what you want in a sideways manner. Meditate to soothe heightened emotions. Don't be clingy. Stop sulking. Have you had enough family time lately? The heightened emotions of the Moon-Cancer combination can't be ignored. However, Cancer is one of the Moon's 2 home signs along with Taurus, so astrologically speaking, the Moon loves to be in this sign. In fact, she rules Cancer. This means that with this card, there's a sense that all is as it should be, or don't worry, all will soon be well. Yeah, I think there was just a little emotional stuff going on, because I think Finney had to get involved with Princess Diana, and I'm sure she was like this magnificent woman. I mean, just, being who she was. And he came in and he had to really get to know her in order for them to accomplish what they needed to accomplish. And they were talking a lot, and it was a big secret, and he couldn't tell anybody. And here's this wife going, man, what's going on with you? What are you doing? That's perfectly understandable. And he kept saying, I can't tell you, but it's really important, that kind of thing. Probably in a closet with no phones around, that kind of thing. So a little bit of faith goes a long way. But I think that had something to do with that previous reading where, he was sad that she just couldn't understand this. But there was this whole thing going on, and she couldn't understand this, and he had to work around that. And, I think, they both had to be sneaky and a little treacherous and other things because, we're in the middle of a big war here. So that's very interesting reading, because that's really consistent with a lot of the things that have been previously read, but also that are coming out as we develop the story. Yeah, it's like this stuff that just kind of blows my doors off. Like, blows me away. And look at all these major arcanas. The Emperor, the Magician, the World, the Empress, and the Emperor. I mean, those are all really big. Ace of Pentacles. That's also like another yes card. Like, seriously? Okay. Anyway. Not really sure what's going on here. That was like the strangest cut. Tarantula. Watching and waiting. Watching and waiting. Tarantula. Okay. At a crossroad, claiming life's purpose, the tarantula represents a moment when a great decision must be made. It involves prioritizing your life's deeper purpose or dharma. A habit or a routine from the past is sidetracking you from your dream, yet a voice inside keeps begging you to refocus your attention. In order to find true happiness, you must choose dharma. Until you do, satisfaction will be fleeting. The tarantula hovers, patient and calm, like an old friend that knows your inner soul. It already knows you'll choose wisely. Follows intuition. Wow. So yeah, I think that's what was happening as the story unfolds before our eyes. We see that these people were humans, or at least acting in a human capacity. And they had real lives with real feelings, with real other people. And, good stuff. Alright, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow.